This sounds fucking... I'm already disgusted. But you know what? Fuck it. Yeah, you know what? Let's watch this. This is what people actually think politics is, by the way. It's like you take a test and then you post the section of the political compass you're in. Oh, are you in lib left? Wow. I'm so surprised. I can't believe you got into lib left.
There are almost 350 million Americans, there are really only two political parties, and despite what the name would imply, neither one's very fun at all. This political division means you don't get any nuance in policy, and instead you either vote on which person you hate the least, or just pick one or two things you absolutely don't want someone to mess up, and then you compromise anyway. While most people are not too familiar with the political compass, they have heard the term left and right. You might have seen a spectrum like this in civics class, and they taught you some vague theory about reactionaries versus radicals, or social reform versus conservatism. But this is pretty meaningless to most people. In reality, when someone asks if you're on the left or right in America, what they want to know is how many digits of the pride flag you've memorized. Even the most far left and far right extremes have more in common than you might think. For example,
I think the stupider a person is on politics, the more they think this is true. I think the dumber you are, the more you think this is true. Can't wait to hear this joke.
They both share the same common weakness: follow-up questions. Take people on the far left, they all make the same mistake, which is waking up one day, doing absolutely no research, and then thinking there's no way that Ben Shapiro will have heard this one before. Similarly, if you take someone on the far right who says, "I believe that white people are superior to the other races," the obvious follow-up is asking if this is their sample group. The reality is that just left or right doesn't capture the full nuance of someone's political beliefs. If you're a fiscal conservative who believes that government debt represents an inability to provide future public programs, the left lumps you in with the people who stormed the Capitol. If you're a liberal who believes that investment into nuclear is the future of clean energy, the right lumps you in with the people who think that the hard counter to fracking is a heartfelt land acknowledgement. The political compass...
Literally no one thinks that. And by the way, that's not far left. This is what I'm talking about. Like, this is kind of just like land acknowledgements are liberalism. They are actually set very close to the center. It's performative radical, not actual radical. And nuclear power, I don't know if you know this, but the far left loves nuclear power. It is the liberal left that doesn't like it. Okay? Like, now, there's arguments against investing in it as a primary thing right now that are economic in nature. Risk minimization and economic reasons not to invest in nuclear power right now in America with our next marginal dollar. But the left is pro-nuclear, fusion research is pure research. This is not something the right likes to fund. That's something the left likes to fund. Like, this is just silly. It's just silly. Now, I mean, I think the confusion, and this is why in America, and by the way, this confusion is intentionally generated. I don't even know what to say. And also, if you're coping with this is a joke, Mike, he's just joking, then you don't understand how politics actually works. People's dumb fucking jokes, that's just the way that they get out of being accountable for doing any effort. Right? That's Ethan Klein in a nutshell. I'm just a dumb comedian, but then he starts pushing his political views very earnestly. And then when he's caught, he runs back to the I'm just a comedian. So he doesn't have to deal with actual concrete arguments that require effort. This is just training people that left equals dumb, annoying, rad lib bullshit, which is not true.
Compass introduces a bit more nuance because while you still have a left and right, you can flesh out what you believe about both economic and social policy, and more importantly, see how your beliefs relate to other people's. To give the theme, as you move up the compass, you prefer big government. As you move down, you prefer small or less government. And as you move left, you prefer equal redistribution of resources. And to the right, you prefer to let free markets allocate resources unimpeded. So let's look at each quadrant's highest value first, so you can see which one you most relate to and the pros.
Ben Shapiro is in the libertarian right is some of the dumbest ass motherfucking shit I've ever heard in my life. He is a virulent Zionist, racist, who like what? The guy wants to he wants to censor content. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? The idea, like, what? I know he's just throwing these on there for no fucking reason, because he's trying to have you make a face, have a meme face. It's crazy.
Pros and cons of each. Authoritarian right's highest value is virtue.
Also, the idea that Kamala Harris ran to the left of Joe Biden is just nonsense. That's another thing that's funny. It's just because she's black. I mean, that's really what it is. Black equals plus 2 points to the left. Two white bros on the internet.
Pros. Everyone can pursue their own ideals. Cons. Me and my homies will determine what they are. Authoritarian left is equality. Pros. Everyone shares equally in all the stuff. Cons. There is no stuff. Libertarian left is compassion.
The only reason people believe this, by the way, like the only reason why this meme has been successful in our generation is because this is the generation of people that never had to deal with the USSR actually being powerful, right? So what has happened is after the 90s and there was a collapse of the Eastern Bloc because they went neoliberalism, because they went neoliberal as fuck, and their wealth collapsed, and their society just rotted and went into prostitution. This like meme has popped up, right? Like, would anybody say there is no stuff if you were like, well, you know, a bunch of people starved to death in Ireland, right? Capitalism equals no stuff now. Like that's basically the level of this argument. And then the problem is we have the current world today, which is China exists. What segment? Okay, what segment would you say that China is in? Would you say China is authoritarian, right? Like, what are you talking about? You put Xi Jinping in authoritarian, right? Like, what? No, they're over here. They have the most stuff. All the stuff comes from China. They're the source of all your treats. So this is just like this joke is just, again, this is just a recapitulation of the propaganda that they've tried to push for the Eastern Bloc, who became poor under capitalism.
There is no stuff. Libertarian left is compassion. Pros. What's mine is yours, what's yours is mine, and we can all love each other. Cons. You hate your wife's boyfriend. Libertarian right is freedom. Pros. The rich get insanely rich. The poor just die. Cons. Lastly, the centrist's highest value is of course A5 Wagyu. Pros. All that matters to him are beef and gas prices. Cons. His whole world is currently in shambles. In brief, auth right is if it ain't broke for me, don't fix it. Lib left is friendly, horny, and broke. Lib right is temporarily embarrassed millionaires. And auth left is everything would finally be perfect if we just got rid of that one fucked up Jenga block right at the bottom. By using the quadrants, it lets us see there's a lot more nuance to someone's political opinion than just left or right. For example, to someone on the right, everyone on the left seems the same, but libertarian left will say, you know, communism sounds really nice, everyone living as equals with each other, working together in harmony with the environment. I guess it just seems that while the theory is good, the execution has been really bad. Then authoritarian left would say, yeah, but often necessary. Similarly, to people on the left, the right seems all the same, but author-right will say, you know, I get that people are different and can choose to live how they want to. It's just the values of my culture are dying and all this chaos is taking over. If people just embraced how things were before, they see it just works better than this. And lib-right would say, you're so right, baby, just unlock this video and it'll help cheer you up. The authoritarian side of the compass also gets the libertarian side confused all the time, mistaking both quadrants as woke. But see if you can catch the subtle difference. Lib-left says, I treat people nicely because they're human just like me with their own personality and preferences. Makes me sad that some people hate other people just because they don't act or look the way they think they should. Whereas lib-right just says, yep, customer's always right. The libertarian side also confuses the authoritarian side. Both want to have top-down control of how things are run and how people behave, but auth-right is much more straightforward. If they don't like what you're doing, they're gonna hit you with a stick. If auth-left doesn't like what you're doing, they're gonna convince everyone else that you have a stick. In contrast, if lib-left's life isn't going so well, they just adapt, complain, download Hinge, and wait for an inheritance. Whereas if lib-right's life isn't going so well, they say, no, there is a way to fight the system. Which is of course the nasal strip, buying an online marketing course, and becoming a men's motivational speaker. Because an individual's beliefs radically shape how they relate to other people, another way of understanding the compass is through how each views their ideal romantic relationship compared to how their relationships actually play out in reality. Auth-right's ideal relationship is the classic nuclear family. Nice house just outside of town, stay-at-home wife, good job, couple of kids, and a dog. The relationship auth-right actually gets is their third failing marriage and fourth pair of tack glasses, or they're a virgin in their early 20s with an anime girl as their ex-profile, and their main hobby is using AI to generate anthropomorphic female fighter jets. In either case, they plan to fix their life with a one-way plane ticket to Thailand and become each other's customer. Auth-left's ideal relationship is with Hasan Piker. The relationship auth-left actually gets is with Hasan Piker's chair. Lib-left's ideal relationship is an open marriage in a humble off-grid cottage near a scenic mountainside where they grow their own food and make their own clothes for a small like-minded community.
He's right about that.
This doesn't happen because lib-left doesn't have the millions of dollars it requires for a Hollywood aesthetic hobby farm. Lib-right's ideal relationship is being an 85-year-old billionaire with an harem of Instagram baddies on his mega yacht in Dubai. Haters will criticize such a transactional relationship, but while lib-right knows that girls only like him for his money, he knows they love him for his terminal heart condition. The next thing you might be wondering is what about the intersections between the quadrants? This is pretty.
I mean, this guy, I think he's pretty much placing him on the chart because he's placed. Okay, this is libertarian detected. Okay, libertarian detected. Their ideal relationship is a 10-year-old anime character that they swear is 1,000 years old. That's their actual relationship. Where's that at? Where's that at? No pedophile joke? Really?
Because they love him for his terminal heart condition. The next thing you might be wondering is what about the intersections between the quadrants? This is pretty simple because it's usually where the rubber actually meets the road in real life. In Western countries, lib-left cares about the environment, while auth-left likes federal laws forcing you to care about the environment. Center-left is what...
I mean, that's the only way to care for the environment, man. Like, me, like, deciding to throw my trash out doesn't clean up the trash on the streets, right? It's a law against littering that cleans up the streets. It's a street cleaning program that cleans up the streets. Me not throwing trash out my fucking car window doesn't matter if everyone else is throwing their car window out. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Of course it requires state action to do anything. This is why, of course, and he is right about that. What people understand is that liberals like this at the bottom left, they're right about this. They're stupid. They're weak and they're soft and they are privileged. Like that's why they have the takes they have. Like that is the vanity, that is the luxury belief square. You're right. It is true. I do give you that.
What happens when you're on your third...
Is my voice doing all right? No. No. I've had to do too many. I blew out my voice yelling. I had to do I was induced to yell in an event. And when somebody says, go as loud as you can, I do. So I actually I actually blew myself out. Normally, and I'm used to projecting, but when I commit to a bit, I commit to a bit.
Wadded up paper straw at the movie theater, and you realize that maybe some sea turtles need to die so you can live. Well, you might be thinking, okay, I'm sort of getting this compass thing. We are, of course, just scratching the surface. surface, because a two-dimensional compass isn't enough to capture the full nuance of a quadrant's views, and you have to introduce the third dimension, which is if you're technologically progressive or regressive. For example, the bottom center on the compass is classically libertarian, believes in self-reliance, saving money, hard currency, survivalism, and only trusts non-mainstream media like Joe Rogan and the Kremlin. If you take this political view and make it technologically progressive, you end up with anarcho-transhumanism, the belief that man will merge with machine and transcend to a higher form of life. Exactly, this is the Japanese trying to cope. If you take the same intersection and make it technologically regressive, you get anarcho-primitivism, or return to monk, which is the sentiment, humans just aren't living how we're supposed to, man. While this is a bit of a self-report, when anyone actually describes fishing, hunting, gathering, and doing arts and crafts in a tribe, they think they're describing how life was as a caveman, but they're actually just describing camping. Figuring out where to put yourself on the compass can still be difficult, because even 3 dimensions is not enough to capture the complexity of beliefs the human mind is capable of.
Okay,
which is why
now we're talking, guys. We need more dimensions.
You must ascend further to include your capacity to change your beliefs over time to avoid ever thinking you're wrong.
Now we're having
which means
fun.
we have to go beyond the political polyhedron to the obvious next
Now we're
step,
having fun.
the political tesseract.
Now we're
This
talking.
political tesseract cannot be pinned down to a single belief, as it's always in a quantum superposition of both support and rejection of any conceivable opinion until
Yes.
someone you don't like expresses their point of view.
We call this the Twitch. We call this the amaranth. Where you accidentally get caught on your true takes, and then you lash out and go, I don't have any takes, I'm just a bimbo making money. Stop canceling your OnlyFans subscriptions. I was kidding. I don't, when I accidentally said the Nazis had a point, I was wrong.
View, and you're forced to disagree. For this reason, it's important to know the point of view of each quadrant for all the most talked about political questions, so you can start filling up.
Listen, like I don't think that like amaranth is amaranth, right? Like, and like can we just talk about how some guys like sociopathic women? Like that this is a big issue, especially online. The sociopath women shit. Like there's some guys just like sociopathic women. I think it's like a self-report where they're scared of getting their hearts broken, so they seek out people that are going to treat them like a transactional object, because that's their biggest fear. So they go out and like confirm it. They like make it happen. And like it is just like it is what it is, but Amaranth is just straightforwardly a sociopathic person who only cares, about very, very, very much herself, and that's it. And I mean, what do you expect, right? Like, what do you expect? I don't know what else to say. Like, it is the culture of the lumpen proletariat, which is like an anti-solidaristic view where it's like everybody's hustling, right? It is the gangster mentality, which is I'm going to climb myself out of this hole by stepping on you. It's all in the game. Nothing matters but your pocket or whatever the fuck. Like, it's very much it is the right-wing take among the poor, right? And sometimes people like that win. Like Amaranth managed to figure out a very specific strategy to make money in pornography of herself, where she owned her own shit. She went on Twitch to advertise. She promoted herself to, certain populations where it was hard to get access to pornographic websites, and she managed to like build a following, and she's making money. But the thing is, she has contempt for the Johns, right? So much contempt and so much vitriol has been hurled at her. She just has contempt for you. And she has expanded her contempt for her Johns to all of humanity, right? And that's her. That's her politics now. Who knows if she was sociopathic before she experienced being a sex worker, or she's sociopathic in response to being, mistreated by everybody. I don't know. But the reality is that she sucks now. I mean, she sucks now. And there's a reason why Trump attracts people like her, right? Because he's one of them, right? He's a sociopathic transactional exploiter. And that's what some people like want to be on that side of they want to be on the team of the exploiters, you know? They think it's a sucker's game to care about the exploited. That's it. It's very straightforward. And maybe it's because I am I just think that's pathetic. I don't know. I just find it so unattractive and so pathetic of a position to hold. It's just like, you really want to live in that, like, you want that to be like, there's some truth to it, right? There is some truth to that fact that some people are able to win by just exploiting and taking advantage of others. That's absolutely the world we live in. But to just pursue that for your own gain, it's just meaningless. Like, at the end of the day, at the end of the game, because we're all gonna die one day, right? We're all gonna die one day. What's all that exploited money and all the people you hurt? What's that mean? What's that matter? What's the value there? That's the way you want to leave the world? There are far more many. There's names without count of people who lived like that, and we don't remember them. We don't remember them. It's complete insecurity in their own selves. A secure person wouldn't worry about losing out to other people or having other people succeed to their I don't know, man. I don't know what to say. I realized that you're describing a charter call center I worked at years ago. Everyone was taught to hustle on their sales and that it didn't matter if you lied as long as you got the sale. Everyone would backstab each other. It's social climb. It was an awful place. Did any of them actually succeed? Did any of them actually achieve a happy life? Like, and even if one did, how many people were willing to like do bad shit and evil shit into the world and then also still just remained at the bottom? And that's the crisis of humanity. That's the crisis of humanity. Okay, let's finish this dumb fuck video.
Up your debate repertoire. For example, if you asked each quadrant, should we have more gun control? Auth right says no, auth left says yes, lib left says yes, and lib right says yes, I should have more control of guns. How would you fix the economy? Auth left would raise taxes, auth right would cut expenses, lib left would unionize, and lib right would say to another lib right, here's $100, slap me. Oh, fuck. Okay, give it back and I'll kick you in the balls. And everyone else would be like, holy shit, they just increased GDP by $200. Pro-choice or pro-life? Auth right says pro-life, lib left says pro-choice, lib right says on-site, and auth left is checking their quotas. When should someone be able to do hormone replacement therapy? Auth left. Anyone with approval from a medical authority can go on hormone replacement therapy at any time. Auth right. Kids shouldn't be allowed to do HRT. Lib left. I just don't want kids going through...
Auth right would say anybody who's trans should be murdered. That's what auth right says. Notice you could tell he's a right winger because he keeps softballing the right wing positions. Like, if you're gonna make like Stalin jokes, you got to make Hitler jokes, right? Like, you can't just be like, look at the Stalinists in the auth left. Anyway, Ben Shapiro is libertarian. Like, what?
Puberty knowing they wanted the body of a different gender. Lib right. I just don't want kids going through puberty. What do you think about free speech? Lib right says no one should be punished for voicing their opinion. Lib left's community note points out how
leftist quotas and Stalin and the Nazis never get mentioned. Yeah, isn't that odd?
How other people treat you for your opinion is part of their freedom of speech. Auth right revokes your blue checkmark for violating their terms of service, and auth left has taken down your post for spreading harmful misinformation. The centrist then walks into the room and says, You better take your medication, Elon. You're arguing with yourself again. You might look at the political compass and think, man, it's crazy that people believe in so many stupid ideologies when there's really only one that's actually correct. Which is why before you wage war in the comment section, you need to know the ultimate trap card of each quadrant to make sure you don't fall into an unwinnable argument and instead probe their weakness to appear more correct. Lib left's trap card is the moral high ground.
Have I looked at
their
riots
weakness
going
is,
on in
how's
Greece?
your
No, I missed that story. What happened?
relationship with your parents? Auth left's trap card is pretending to be lib left. Their weakness is trigger words like America is a decent country or Mazel Tov. Lib right's trap card is the success of free market capitalism. Their weakness is how much tax
Success, guys.
If you paid in capital gains. Authoride's trap card is their collection of cherry-picked crime statistics. Their weakness is undermining their credibility with questions like dinosaurs. Were they real or just the shape of nuggets? This scares Authoride because they know what you're going to ask the shape of next. Alright, you should be well prepared to go into battle. If this video offended you, just remember there's nothing you can do about it because YouTube removed dislikes ages ago. If you try to leave a negative comment, you will face the full wrath of my terms and conditions, only positive feedback will get a cute heart, and most importantly, this video is brought to you by Saley. As an American, you might be thinking, with what's going on in my country, I really want to move to Canada. But being unable to read Celsius or the metric system, communication would of course be impossible, and there'd be no way for you to get a local SIM card for your phone. What can you do about it? Well, with Saley, you can download an eSIM onto your phone, giving you data coverage in over 180 different countries, meaning you can significantly reduce or entirely eliminate roaming fees, and you can get a global or regional plan if you plan on visiting multiple countries. This is especially helpful because not only can you avoid getting scammed or having to talk to people in general, you don't run the risk of losing your original SIM card from back home. My last one is currently in Peru. My friend Jimmy is going on a work trip next week, and the only reason I didn't recommend Saley to him is because he's going to Spain, so he's going to get his phone stolen anyway. If you'd like to give Saley a try, you can scan the QR code on your phone, download the Saley app, and use the code CASUALLY at checkout for a 15% discount.
My Lord in heaven. Why did you send me that? You just gave me brain rot. You just legitimately gave me brain rot. It is Friday, though.